We just got an entire chapter of Ego absolutely roasting the likes of Nagi. All of his defenders and glazers are left completely shut down. Everyone outside of the top 23 is outright told to log off. Their time in the experiment has indeed come to an end. Ego pretty much going in like we've never seen before, and Bro pretty much raging out, completely defeating the likes of Rio and Hisagi, with Nagi only really saying one word throughout the entire chapter. Everyone is talking about him, but Bro is left completely defeated. This is regardless of his potential talent, genius aspect, previous insane goals that the entire world got to see. If you don't have the ego, you don't belong in Blue Lock, simple as that. Welcome to my breakdown of Blue Lock chapter 299, make sure to listen closely throughout. So right away we are told at the start of the chapter, with Spain's victory, the last place is confirmed. The future of Nagi and Rio is separated. We see the reaction of some others who managed to make it, some goats who performed quite well throughout the entire Neo Eagles League and will definitely be helping in various positions throughout the Under 20 World Cup. The reaction of course, the other characters who didn't make it into the top 23, alongside Nagi of course, and some other characters who at a time in the series many people would be surprised, but when you consider the current era of Blue Lock and what most of these guys have demonstrated, they didn't really belong anywhere close, so it is what it is. But naturally, one that hit maybe harder than the likes of Nagi was our other GOAT, who is indeed being eliminated. All the people outside of the top 23 are told to log off. They are indeed removed from the Blue Lock experiment, Nagi included. But of course, as expected, the amount of rage and question marks from certain characters in regards to why Nagi didn't make it is indeed the focus of the entire chapter. So the first one to, start yapping is Isagi, who, yes, is living off the high of being number one, but still absolutely shocked the likes of Nagi didn't make it. Ego's response to him is the following. He couldn't contribute to the match. He had some shiny moments, but the disparity between good and bad was too big. A player of this quality gets a relative salary, so a common trend throughout all Blue Lock is Ego low-key being a Nagi hater. However, his hate is kinda justified for what we saw from Nagi throughout its entire arc, particularly in the previous chapter where Bro went back on everything he was hyping himself up to be and absolutely got crushed in every way by honestly superior strikers part of Blue Lock at this point. It may seem like I'm being quite harsh on him, but that's pretty much what happened, and we get this continued throughout the chapter. But with all this said, Isagi talks a little bit about Nagi's talent, a major factor. But before that conversation can continue, the other character everyone was expecting to crash out, more than the one who didn't make it, Rio himself, who's saying please redo it, sad to see. And then similar to Isagi mentioning how his talent is recognized across the world due to the insane goals he's scored, some of the best in all Blue Lock, if not potentially the best in the entire series to this day that the entire world got to see. Miracle plays only Nagi the genius would be capable of. Something of this caliber should allow him to be able to get a bid and be added to further stages. But based on the original goal at the beginning of Blue Lock, this being an experiment, a laboratory to make the world's best, Nagi, based on what's happened so far, doesn't exactly fit that mold. However, Ego proceeds to cook Nagi to the utmost extreme, much more than I honestly expected. He questions Rio on calling Nagi a genius and says his talent has already withered, meaning he is no longer recognized as such a genius. Proceeding to break down that talent isn't about believing in one's abilities, it's about proving one's abilities that come before such a thing as talent. noting the various factors that can either enhance or limit this idea of talent, and we clearly see Nagi's failure in regards to what Ego was saying here, but also makes it clear that Nagi has done something that's beyond talent. Of course, the crazy volley in the third match, the beyond superhuman demonstration of ability and pure talent, all things considered, but highlights that this is something that created an illusion of his true power. Nagi's true abilities were overshadowed by this insane goal, limiting him to an insane degree, and everyone else's perceived perspective, including those close to him, with all this connecting to Nagi's ego and the various failures in regards to that. He potentially has already fulfilled his dream, so the idea of increasing one's talent may also come to an end in that regard, relating once again to how one's ego is likely one of the most important factors in Blue Lock. We even saw it with a lot of the masters throughout the entire arc, peak strikers in the entire world of Blue Lock, and if someone within the experiment being run by Ego himself can't reach this level, it's rip, time to pack your bags, mate. With the chapter pretty much highlighting that the pass Nagi did here was his ultimate and final downfall. If bro just went for the shot and pulled a miracle, he would still be part of Blue Lock, but the fact that he tried passing to Rio in the way he did, after everything else he claimed at the start of the previous chapter, and then the second he was pressured to a high degree going back and all that, is justification for him being eliminated, regardless of impressive past performances, insane goals, and perceived overall talent by the world or many of the other players. Therefore, in short, Ego absolutely shit on Nagi, but the one crying and being upset the most is of course Rio, who gets completely shut down by Ego here. You love to see it. With Blue Lock chapter 299 seemingly ending with Nagi saying this to Rio: "Hey Rio, our dream is left incomplete," highlighting that this seemingly is indeed the end of Nagi in Blue Lock. Some people's worst nightmare has come true, some people's dream has come true, but this is the end of Nagi within the experiment. A wild and unexpected send-off, and I'm imagining there's going to be some more conversation in chapter 300 between these two. But as I broke down in this video, Nagi's side manga is where we're going to get his continued story, which likely is far from over, just on a different path to a lot of the other characters, which is going to make the events occurring in the future of this side manga much more interesting. But going over some other good news, there is no break. A new chapter will be coming out next week, the big 300. But with all that, I hope you enjoyed today's breakdown. Check out this one where I go over some important stuff for the future of Blue Lock. And of course, subscribe for more.